Recording and producing music at home has literally never been easier and never been more affordable than now. And in this video, I'm gonna cover everything you need to get pro quality sound in a home studio. Spoiler, it's not much. What's up you guys, Nathan Larsen here, back at you with another video for those of you guys who make music at home, whether you're an artist, songwriter, producer, if you write and record your own music at home, this is the channel for you. If that sounds like you at all, then you know what to do. Subscribe to the channel right now. Do it. So you want to start producing at home, or you are already doing it and want to know what you're missing. I've been producing in a home studio for 13 years, been doing it professionally since I was 19 years old, which I'm no longer 19 years old. Apparently time doesn't go backwards. I'm married and I have kids and a house and I'm getting old. Let's just jump in. I'm gonna make this quick and dirty. Very first thing you need is a computer. It doesn't matter if you're running with a desktop or a laptop. The main thing you should be looking at is RAM. If you know you want to do more produced material with samples, sample libraries, bigger projects and such, then aim for no less than 16 gigabytes of RAM. This is the most important thing to look at. My computer right now is a MacBook Pro with 16 gigabytes of RAM. It is a newer one, and honestly, it's struggle bussin'. It's struggling. But I do plan on upgrading in the near future to an iMac with 64 gigabytes of RAM, but that is because I do a ton of video editing. 64 gigabytes for music production is total overkill. So if you have the budget and know you want to do big stuff or are doing anything orchestral, then 32 gigabytes is what you should be aiming for. It's not cheap, but well worth it. Next, you will need an external drive if you're going to be buying any sample libraries. I highly recommend a solid state drive as it will be a lot faster. I've linked below all the stuff I use in my studio, and yes, I do get a small commission if you purchase, but I personally use Sweetwater. I recommend you use Sweetwater. It's where I buy my gear. But I would shoot for at least 2 terabytes on an external drive. That way, if you plan on growing down the road, you have that option. Now, if you don't have sample libraries or you want to start off small, then just hold off on this, get your feet wet with producing, and then you can always buy an external drive down the road. Next up, you need a DAW, or digital audio workstation. This is the software that you're going to use to do literally everything. This is the hub. For me, I use Logic Pro, which is Apple only, but it's amazing. It's only $200, which is cheaper than a lot of the other options out there. I'm obviously biased, but I love it, and I have a lot of tutorials here on the YouTubes on Logic. If you're brand new and don't know how much you want to sink into this, then just start with GarageBand or Audacity, since they're both free, and just see what you think, or even something like Reaper, which is a professional DAW that's more affordable. I think it's like 70 bucks. I got started on GarageBand when I was in high school, upgraded to Logic Pro a year later, and I would never go back. I've used Pro Tools, and I still prefer Logic. If you know you want to jump in head first, then skip the free stuff and just get a professional DAW. Trust me, it's worth it. Logic, Ableton, Studio One, Pro Tools, Cubase, Reaper, and there are more out there. All of them are going to be good. You'll see people asking, what is the best DAW? There is no such thing. Just pick one you feel comfortable with and learn and go and make music. I chose Logic because it was just the option I knew of and a gradual, natural step up from GarageBand, and now I love it because I see that it's an amazing tool for composing and actually writing within, as well as straight up production. Now, from here on, there are some things you might not use, but most do, so it's kind of up to you to determine what you need versus what you simply want or what other people say that you should get. But I'm gonna cover all of our bases here. For me personally, I do need a MIDI controller for my production, so I do recommend getting a MIDI controller. Mine's a bit more expensive because it has the full-size weighted keyboard. That's because I am a pianist. It's the Native Instruments Control S88, which is absolutely incredible. I love it, it's amazing. But you can get weightless keys and fewer keys to fit whatever you need, or you can even look into something like the Novation Launchpad X, which is basically just a drum pad. It's got all it's got the drum pads on it. You can still do keyboard sounds even with the drum pads, just kind of awkward in my opinion. Ultimately, a MIDI controller is going to help you control all the sounds inside your DAW. That's basically it. And as far as price range, I mean, honestly, you can find them for as cheap as under $100, and then obviously you can find some that are 1,000 plus. My keyboard was well over 1,000. Then you're likely going to need to record with a microphone, right? I assume so. I do not recommend USB microphones unless you're literally just dabbling and trying to see what you even like. Audio quality is simply not as good with USB microphones. So with that, you'll need an audio interface. This is basically what converts the analog signal, which your microphone captures, and turn it into a digital signal your computer can understand. This is also where you're going to hook up your monitors or speakers or headphones. If you're just getting started, then you can buy one for between $100 and $200. My first interface was this one right here, which is the Native Instruments Complete Audio 6. I think it's $200, and it works great. It got me some pretty good results. I was actually producing professional professionally for many years with this, so don't think you can't get great quality with something like that. You can even get bundles where the interface actually comes with microphone, cable, and even stands. That might not be a bad option as well. You can find those in the $300 to $500 range. Now, currently I'm using the Antelope Audio Zen Go, which is a $500 interface. It sounds light years better, so there is a difference in quality as you go up the price range. There are obviously lots of options. Industry standard options would be companies like Antelope Audio, PreSonus, Focusrite, and of course you have Universal Audio as well. Now you need a microphone. This depends on what you want to do, but if you're wanting an everything mic, then large diaphragm condenser mics are great, but you do need to know that they are significantly more sensitive. So if you have a really crappy room, it's going to be a problem. I'll touch on acoustic treatment in a second, but if you don't have good acoustic treatment, then you will probably want to get a dynamic mic to not cause as many problems as you're recording material in, or something like this, which is the Loudon LS208. This is actually a condenser microphone, but it's designed to not allow so much sound to come in from your room. The Shure SM7B is comparable to that. Both of those are in the $500 to $600 range, so that you do have to spend a little bit more. But even something like this, which is the Shure SM58, you've probably seen these around. This is $100. That'll work fine. I've done a lot of great things with this exact mic and gotten great results. But here's the thing, if you have a budget, then seriously just get some acoustic treatment and work out getting a great sounding room, and then you're not gonna have this problem. So let's talk acoustic treatment. Foam will only help with recording and not so much with mixing. For mixing, you are gonna need panels and bass traps that cut down on low frequencies. I built my own behind me in those panels, the white ones, but I'm also remodeling my new studio right now, which will have all new acoustic treatment. And yes, it is expensive if you want the good stuff. My new studio is about 250 square feet, so it's obviously a very big room. It's gonna cost me about $1,500 to get it totally covered and to do it right. If I was redoing treatment in just this room, it would be about half that. And that is including bass traps, which go in the corner. That is gonna be helpful for mixing, and yeah, they're not cheap. So if you're just getting started, I would say focus on getting the basics. The foam behind me, like that, in combination with panels or just the foam, that's gonna help with high frequency ringing for recording. It's just not gonna be very great for mixing, in which case just mix with headphones. Not earbuds, not earbuds, like actual studio headphones. That brings us to headphones and monitors. If you're just starting, then just get a pair of good headphones. Spend $80 to $100 for a good pair and just use that. Monitors are great, but if you don't know if you want to stick with this, then just don't shell the money quite yet. And if you do know you want to go all in, then just get a decent pair and upgrade whenever you're ready. That's usually my philosophy. Start small, and then you can always grow as you grow. I use the PreSonus Aris E5s. They're good, not incredible, but good. I am going to be upgrading my monitors as well with a new studio. Probably going to be looking into either Yamaha or something like the Output new Frontier monitors, but I'm not 100% sold on what I'm going to be getting. Now, with all of this, you have to decide your commitment level and get what works for you, not just because someone on YouTube said you need to spend $5,000 on a studio, or someone on a Facebook group said that unless you're using analog gear, you suck at making music. That right there is dumb. I've worked with a very minimal setup and was making money professionally as a producer at 19 years old with a really crappy laptop. You don't need to spend a fortune, and if you're new, then don't. It always baffles me when I see people posting there, here's like my $50,000 studio, and then you actually listen to their music and their music just sucks. Like, really? The gear you have and your ability to actually use that gear are two different things, okay? It's two different things. So you should instead be investing in learning how to use what you already have. Finally, it is my opinion that sample libraries are one of the best investments you could possibly make in your studio. So many people ask me what plugins they should buy. Should I buy the Waves bundle or Sound Toys or this or that, or should I get the Slate bundle? But you know what? Don't buy effects plugins. Instead, buy sample libraries. That will actually level up your productions tenfold by having access to amazing sounds. For me, I love everything by Native Instruments. I love everything by Output. I've had wonderful experiences with both of those products and brands, and have for years, even well before having a relationship with companies like Native Instruments. So I'm not getting paid to say this. I just love Native Instruments and literally use their stuff on every single session. They have different tiers of bundles, and obviously you can buy individual libraries as well. I'll have links down below where you can check out what I actually use. Finally, the accessories, cables and mic stands and other things like that. For microphones and guitars, you're gonna need cables. XLR cables are for microphones, and 1/4-inch cables for instruments. Then obviously you need mic stands. All pretty basic stuff. Just find an option in your price range, look at reviews, and go. Not terribly complicated. Now, I don't really recommend going with the cheap microphone stands, because if your mic is kind of hanging out a little bit, that microphone is probably a little bit heavy. The whole thing is gonna go down. So get nice mic stands. Just, you'll thank me later. And of course you could buy all sorts of crazy accessories, analog gear, this and that, but the truth is that if you have what we've talked about here, you're well on your way. Of course you can skip the sample libraries at the beginning if you want to and buy as you need and as you grow, but there's no reason you cannot have a decent setup up and running for under $1,000 if you already have a computer. Obviously that's if you already have a computer. Don't destroy me in the comments for that. If you have a bigger budget, then great, but if not, I want you, listen, like really close, listen. Your production quality has less to do with your gear and more to do with your ability to use your gear. And that is why I created this YouTube channel. That's why I created my online producer accelerator program, to teach you how to use what you have and how to create amazing quality at home. So the producer accelerator is my online music production program. It's for beginners and intermediates, covering the A to Z of home studio production. I've already helped tons of producers level up their game, so if you want to check that out, it's in the description down below, or you can watch my free training covering the 7 keys to pro home studio productions there as well, to make sure you're actually focusing on the right things, because most people, they're just not focused on the right things. And of course, if you have any comments or questions about this video, leave them down below. I'd love to hear from you. And if you haven't already subscribed, then what are you waiting for? We'll see you in the next one.